What's going on, guys? My name is Jack. Welcome back to another episode of The Lion's Den. Joining me today once again is my good friend, brother, and sometimes co-host Jesse Tiv. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited. What's going on?
Dude, everything's going on, man. Today we have some exciting announcements to come out of Paladins in relation to their esports. It was announced on the 31st of August that the World Esports Association would be merging with Hi-Rez Studios to create Paladins' first major esports league that wasn't Hi-Rez founded. It's going to be called the Paladins Premier League. It's going to be featuring all 10 teams of WESA, so if you're familiar with esports at all, that's Envious, Fnatic, G2 Esports, Mouse Sports, Natus Vincier, Ninjas in Pajamas, Renegades, SK Gaming, Splice, and Virtus Pro. Some of the absolute biggest brands in the business, some of the most historic brands. And it's going to obviously bring a lot of money and a lot of attention to Paladins, which is a pretty big deal. So what do you think about it, Jess?
It sounds pretty great, man. First, I kind of want to talk about the name real quick, just because these are mostly EU teams, if not all EU orgs. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure most of them are EU. So to call it the Premier League, which is the name of the big football league in Europe, right, the English Premier League, and to call it Paladins Premier League, I think just puts a nice shine on it, and it'll give more people who are maybe not into the game or into gaming in general a look into the game just by the name alone.
It'll draw people in for sure.
Now, with the big name orgs that are in this, that actually makes me really excited. Bringing in some big name orgs and some big money orgs and WESA into the fold, into Paladins, actually makes me really excited that they're going to put some money behind this game.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about the money first. The biggest deal out of this is that this is going to be split between Hi-Rez and WESA. They're going to be guaranteeing team salaries. And I'm assuming that none of these orgs have Paladins teams as of now, so they're going to be scouting for all the big talent that's already in the league. So that's a big news for all of the players, especially because Paladins already has a very competitive scene with lots of really good teams. I'm sure all those players are just beside themselves that they're going to get a chance to turn this into a legitimate job, because so far it's been a small startup. I mean, I don't remember what the prize pool at the last major was for Paladins, but it's not $1 million tournament by any means, and WESA is just going to be a big deal for those players to actually be able to live. I mean, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, well, WESA is known for kind of supporting the players and making sure the players get what they need to do this full time, right? And I know a lot of other esports are so cutthroat that maybe the lower end players aren't getting what they need to just survive as being a full-time gamer, right? So WESA coming in and having the big name orgs coming in, I think that really helps the players be able to commit and have the highest Paladins that they can have, right?
Yeah, and it's also showing that I think a big fear when we were seeing all these Hi-Rez sponsored tournaments was this turning into a League of Legends scenario where the devs would have complete control over all the esports, and there wouldn't be a whole lot of growth outside. You'd have to play in the Paladins equivalent of the LCS would be. But the Paladins has already had a DreamHack hosted tournament. The WESA sponsorship shows that they're willing to expand and let other brands handle organization of tournaments, which is a big deal. I mean, that's why Counter-Strike I think is so big and so popular, is that there's so many organizers making tournaments all the time that there's always something to watch at some kind of high level, So this is really good as far as diversifying how much Paladins we can watch on any given basis.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually really do enjoy the League of Legends format, though. I think LCS is really exciting, and it is the most viewed esport in the world. So I mean, either format works, so I'm not mad at this format either. I think the Premier League is a good idea, and then having some other hosted tournaments as well is awesome. I'm just really excited. I think the game's in a really good spot, and I think it is fairly competitive to play.
Yeah, I mean, for people who maybe play Paladins but aren't aware of the esports scene in its current form, it's been incredibly fun to watch. I mean, we talked about this in a video a long time ago on my personal channel before we transferred to Nerds Summarized, but one of the big draws of Paladins right away for me was how well put together the tournaments already were for such a obviously low budget developer done tournament. It's nowhere near the budget of any other esport that's big. You know, they're pulling off production quality. They have good casters. The teams are really competitive. Like, the game itself already has like great spectator support, and there's already all the tools in game to make the spectator experience really good. I mean, you compare it to like Overwatch, which is like so much bigger by comparison, just in terms of like scope and budget and like reach. And like, they're still fumbling to get a league started. Like the Overwatch World League or whatever is still like trying to get together. But you look at Paladins, and the barrier to entry is going to be so much lower. It already has all these things there to make the viewing experience, you know, pleasurable. And then the game itself is just good to watch. So I think you could even, if the Paladins Premier League goes well, who knows what could happen past that. Because the plan is for this first season, which is going to be happening in the fall, it's just be the 10 WESA teams, but they're going to be opening it up to other organizations. And it's just going to spread the name of Paladins to so many different people when you see 10 of the biggest brands of the business suddenly investing. So who knows? Paladins could just blow up out of this if the league goes over well.
Yeah, I agree. I think the timing of this was really great because of the Overwatch League. I don't know if they have a name for it yet, but considering that that's taking 10 million a spot or whatever ridiculous numbers to get a spot into that league, and then having a very similar game come in with WESA supporting the players and having these big name orgs, not to mention half of these orgs have had Overwatch teams and cut all of them because the Overwatch League has been such a mess at the beginning, and now it still hasn't started yet. So coming into a similar game that has really good casting and really good events set up, and the drafts are really exciting. There's so much exciting things about the Paladins esport. I think this was a really great time to have the league because they beat Overwatch to it, and they have big name orgs in this league.
And I would go as far as to say that I think from what we've seen of competitive Overwatch versus what we've seen of competitive Paladins, if I had to choose which one I was going to watch, I would watch Paladins. I think Paladins is just in general a more interesting game. It's all around faster. There's a lot more interesting things to analyze in terms of how teams set up and build their characters, the itemization. I think the maps are more interesting. I think Paladins has everything in its place right now to be a serious contender for Overwatch's, view on things. I think Overwatch really would have to... The Overwatch World League or whatever would have to be something so great and so spectacular right out the gate to, I think, compete with this. Because right now, I think Paladins is ahead of them.
Yeah, I think Overwatch made a mistake by just throwing money at the situation that is their esport. Like, okay, we'll just take more money, whereas Paladins started out very small, just a couple of teams doing little tournaments, having great events, and then all of a sudden now here we are with a legitimate league with legitimate orgs, and now it's about to blow up, right?
Yeah, and then you think about it, Overwatch pretty much halted all of the smaller leagues because they wanted to franchise into like this Blizzard-sponsored tournament style, and pretty much just stomped out all the other smaller organizers who were already hosting Overwatch tournaments, which I think was a massive mistake in hindsight. And I don't know if Overwatch can recover from that, but Paladins from the very beginning has been open to anything. They've been doing like small pickup tournaments every couple of weekends where they'll just have fans sign up, like get your group of friends together and enter into like $100 one weekend Paladins tournament and just have some fun. Like the startup aspect of Paladins, I think, is really inspiring people to get in early, and I think that's showing with WESA stepping up to the point and saying, hey, we're willing to back this because we like what we see.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to talk about Overwatch too much, but I do want to say one more thing just because the games are so similar. Overwatch as a game has major problems in the esports area, whereas Paladins doesn't have big balance problems, doesn't have big meta problems. Paladins is ready to go into esports right now, whereas Overwatch is trying to build a league, but their game isn't even ready yet.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's where we're at. I mean, I think Paladins is incredibly fun to watch. I think having these big name orgs is a big deal, man. Having Envious, Fnatic, G2, I mean, these are big name orgs.
Yeah, lots of money, for sure. I mean, the potential alone, I think, is enough to get people excited. And the fact that it's coming so soon, we're talking fall of this year, we could be getting the format and the teams announced within a month from now. That's a big deal. I mean, we're heading right into, the last split of LCS. We're not gonna be seeing another CS:GO major for a long time. It's kind of gonna be a little bit of like a dry area for the next couple months in terms of like big name esports content. Right when the Paladins Premier League is supposed to start up, that's a really big deal in terms of the timing. So this is looking like this was a great move all around. Definitely, it puts Hi-Rez on the map for making such a great decision.
Yeah, I also think that the game is just in a great spot balance-wise. Do you think it's going to be a LAN league, or would you prefer an online league?
I don't know. I guess it would with 10 teams and the fact that they're billing it as like this is going to be Paladins' best league. This is going to be the focal point, the Paladins Premier League. I would assume that they're going to have most of the big events as LANs, especially because you're talking about there's definitely money here to make that happen.
Sure.
But maybe we see
of course the big
maybe they
events
try and seed the brackets with online play, but for sure any kind of main event or like tournament is going to be LAN. That's has to
Well,
be
yeah, for sure. But okay, so let's talk about the two biggest esports in the world right now. We got Counter-Strike and League of Legends. Those are the two biggest esports. So one has a LAN league, LCS and LCK and EU LCS, and Counter-Strike has smaller online leagues like ESL and ESEA or whatever the other one's called.
Well, and to be fair, plenty of LAN tournaments as well.
Yeah, plenty of LAN tournaments, but the weekly Counter-Strike that you get on an online basis with no faces. Mm-hmm. Whereas the weekly League of Legends that you get is LAN, and you get to see these players week in, week out. That's my guy, that's Faker, I know exactly what he looks like. Whereas a novice to CSGO might not know what all of Meister looks like because he plays in an online league where his face isn't shown all the time.
Fair enough. I would say that, especially because what we've seen already from Paladins, I've watched quite a bit of. They've run online tournaments all the time. If you follow the Paladins Twitter, they're always casting games. Like it seems like every week. It looks like there's no significant issues with them running an online league, like in terms of like connection issues or like things being significantly.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with it being online league. I would like to see a LAN league. I don't know if they got the budget to do a LAN league, but I think that is the future of esports, is going to be having head-to-head LAN leagues, weekly LAN leagues, right?
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough teams to support that on like a consistent basis right now. I think they want to make sure that they get enough content in this first season to really engage other organizations to join up. So I think for sure we're going to see a mix for this first season. What happens past that, I'm not sure. But
I think the future's bright though.
Yeah, for sure. And just speaking about Paladins as a game briefly, if you play the game, which I assume if you're watching this video, you probably play the game, you know what we're talking about. The game is incredibly polished. It plays incredibly well. I mean, they just reworked the competitive side of things, the ranked, and even casual, I think, is in a really good place right now. The game's very engaging. It's very fun. It's easy to pick up, but there's also like a very, very high skill curve, which I think is something that even like a game like Counter-Strike, which I really hold as like a truly perfect game, kind of falls short on. Where like I think the barrier to entry in a game like Counter-Strike could be a little intimidating. I think games like Paladins are a lot more like friendly to newer players, but you also hit a wall very fast where you have to get better. I think that's what's going to keep the engagement alive for especially lower level players, is to see these professionals on a big stage showing you what the highest level of Paladins is possible. And frankly, high level Paladins is amazing. So I think there's just, it looks like it has everything it needs to succeed to me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the game, I haven't played the game in fucking 5 months, and then we hopped on today to play some matches to kind of get a feel for where the game is this time around to do this video, and I was shocked. I actually wanted to play a lot more matches right now. They had new heroes that were fun to play. The balance was really good. You could win with a multitude of different comps. There's all different play styles, and the balance is just really good. Ultimates don't carry games. Skill carries games.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, I mean, I don't really have anything else much to add to it. Any closing thoughts, Jess?
I think it's a big deal that WESA's coming in to support Paladins because of all the controversy that Paladins had when it first came out. So to have these big names and to have WESA involved, I think it's really exciting, and I think Paladins has a real chance to be a super legitimate esport.
Yeah, if nothing else, I think this announcement cements that this game isn't a joke. It's not a ripoff like a lot of people. I still even hear today that people still think Paladins is a ripoff. They
never played the game. That's obvious.
Never played the game. Frankly, when I first got into the game several months ago, I was guilty of that too. And, it changed my mind. I think it's a great game. And if nothing else, this cements that Paladins is here. It's here to stay. And we hope it does good things. If you guys enjoyed what you just watched, make sure you hit that like button. Let us know what you think about the WESA merger down in the comments down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. My name is Jack. This has been Jesse Tiv. Make sure you guys subscribe to Nerds Rise for more, and we will see you next time. Thank you all for watching.
Later.